A Poor Excuse for a Dragon, written by Geoffrey Hayes. When Fred was old enough to leave home, his father and mother gave him a list. How to be a good dragon. Run amok. Eat people. Roar. Breathe fire. Act scary. I'll miss you and your beautiful red eyes, said Mum. Make us proud of you, said Pop. I'll try, said Fred. At noon he came to a wide green field. It looked like the perfect place to run amok. Fred began running in circles and waving his arms. He roared and knocked over a haystack, but it only made him dizzy. He had to lie down for a few minutes. Soon he smelt something really yummy. Where's that smell coming from? Said Fred. He went to find out. The smell was coming from a castle. Fred waded across the moat so he could peep over the wall. Mrs. Green, the cook, was busy in the kitchen. She'd left a plate of pancakes on the windowsill. Fred wondered if they tasted as yummy as they smelt. He looked at his list. Eat people. Said Fred. He climbed over the castle wall. When Mrs. Green came into the garden to pick the strawberries, Fred jumped in front of her and roared. Mrs. Green got a look on her face, and she looked at him and thought, Who let you in? I'm the dragon with two big red eyes, and I'm going to eat you, said Fred. You may have two red eyes, but your roar sounds like a meow, said Mrs. Green. I'll show you, said Fred. He swallowed it up in one big gulp. He didn't even take time to chew her up. Let me out at once, or I'll tell the princess, said Mrs. Green. I won't, said Fred. He heard someone coming. It was Princess Guinevere. Yoo-hoo, Mrs. Green! When will brunch be ready? She called. Fred hid in the bushes. He checked his list. Breathe fire. This'll be fun, he thought. He ran from behind the bushes and spit fire. I'm the dragon with the two red eyes, and I'm going to eat you. Princess Guinevere giggled. You may have two red eyes, but your fire looks like a birthday candle. I'll show you, cried Fred. He swallowed Princess Guinevere in one gulp. He didn't even take time to chew her. So you're in here too, Mrs. Green said when she saw the princess. Let us out or we'll scream at the top of our lungs, cried the princess. And Mrs. Green shouted as well. I won't, said Fred. Fred heard someone knocking at the castle door. He poked his head around the wall. A little bird had come over to sing to the Princess Guinevere. I'll act really, really scary this time, thought Fred. Fred ran out. He waved his arms. He spit fire. He gave the biggest roar. I'm the dragon with two red eyes, and I'm going to eat you. You may have two red eyes, said the bird, but you don't scare me. I'll show you, said Fred, and he swallowed the bird in one big gulp. It was getting a little bit crowded inside the dragon's tummy. He'll be inviting the squirrels in next, said Mrs. Green. This stinks, said Princess Guinevere. Now I'm never going to get my pancakes. She looked so sad that the bird decided to sing a song to cheer her up. "Stop singing," said Fred. "I'm trying to be scary." "I won't," said the bird. Suddenly Fred didn't feel so good. He wandered into the forest and sat under a tree and groaned. "Oh, oh." The Hooty Witch, who'd been up all night making spells, was trying to have a sleep. She ran out of her cottage waving her arms. "Oh, go groan somewhere else," said Hooty Witch. "I need my rest." "I can't," said Fred. "My tummy hurts." I have something that might help," said Hooty Witch. She disappeared into her cottage and came out with a huge bottle of castor oil. "Here," she said, "drink this." Fred swallowed the entire bottle. "Castor oil? Yuck!" cried Princess Guinevere and Mrs. Green and the bird, and they tossed that bottle of castor oil right back out of his tummy. "What on earth was that?" asked the Hooty Witch, and Fred told the Hooty Witch the whole story. "No wonder your tummy hurt," she said. "Castor oil's not going to help that. We need to go and see the giant." "Oh no," cried the Princess Guinevere, Mrs. Green and the bird, "not the giant. It's for your own good," said Hooty Witch. "I suppose swallowing us was for our own good too," said Mrs. Green. The Hooty Witch led Fred over the rocks, through the trees and up the hill to the giant's cave. The cave was in the middle of playing a game of checkers, and he didn't like being bothered. "This better be worth my time," he said. "I'm the dragon with 2 red eyes," said Fred, "and we need your help." He told the giant the whole story. "Didn't your mother ever tell you that you should chew your food?" "Well, what do you want me to do?" "Could you reach down my throat with your long arms and pull everybody out?" said Fred. "I can try," said the giant, "but if you bite my arm off, you'll soon be the dragon with 2 black eyes." The giant stuck his arm down Fred's throat. There was a lot of yelling from inside Fred's tummy. The giant pulled his arm back out. "Oh, this is not going to work," cried Fred. "You're choking me." "We'd better go and see John Little," said the giant. "He's the smartest boy I know." John Little was herding his sheep. "Why didn't I just eat sheep?" thought Fred. "I'm sure they would have tasted nice and agreed with me." "Sheep are yummy," said the giant. "I like mine with a bit of mint sauce." "Hello, giant," called John Little. "Who are your friends?" They told John Little the whole story. John Little thought for a minute, then he went into the barn and came out with a big stick and a very long rope. "Now, my dear," John Little said to the dragon, "lie down on your tummy and don't move." As soon as Fred lay down, John Little propped his mouth open with a big stick. He tied one end of the very long rope to a tree and the other around his waist. He told the Hooty Witch and the giant, "When I say pull, I want you to pull on this rope as hard as you can." "Sure thing," they answered. John Little crawled into Fred's mouth and down his throat. He found the Princess Guinevere and Mrs. Green and the little bird all huddled up in the corner. "There's no more room in here," said Mrs. Green. "You're going to have to get right back out." "I plan to," said John, "and I'm going to take you all with me." "Ooh, what a hero!" cried Princess Guinevere. "Suppose the giant eats us though," said the bird. "The giant is a friend of mine," answered John Little, "and he won't eat you. And even if he does, you'll be no worse off than you are now." Everybody agreed. John Little told them to get down on their knees and to make themselves as small as possible. They each grabbed onto the rope and John Little yelled, "Pull!" The giant and the Hutty Witch pulled as hard as they could and bingo! In no time everybody was sitting on the grass outside. The bird was so happy he composed a song. "Oh, that feels better," said Fred. "I'm sorry I swallowed you. I made a real mess of things. I'm a poor excuse for a dragon." Mrs. Green pulled Princess Guinevere aside. They began whispering. Fred tried to listen. He heard Princess Guinevere say, "Well, it's where the shorts." They went over to Fred and Princess Guinevere said, "Mrs. Green and I were wondering if you'd like to come and live in our moat. I've been pestering Mr. Green for a house dragon and you'd be perfect. But my roar is like a meow and my fire is like a candle. And I'm not really scary," said Fred. "Nonsense! How many dragons have you seen with such scary red eyes?" said Mrs. Green. Fred hadn't thought of that. "Will I get pancakes?" he said. "You can have as many as you like," said Princess Guinevere. "Ooh, then I'll do it," said Fred. So John Little went back to herding his sheep, and the giant went back to his checkers, and the Hutty Witch went back to her sleep. Fred gave up running amok to live in the moat. Mrs. Green cooked more pancakes, and everybody was really happy. Fred sent his mum and his dad a letter. "Dear Mum and Pop, you would be really proud of me. I've got a job as a house dragon. I can protect the castle with my 2 red eyes. And I don't eat people anymore. I prefer pancakes. Yum, yum, yum."